We've been following the story in Egypt closely. I don't want to get into reporting all of the minutiae of what is going on. Certainly, we've had, at this point, days and days of 24-hour coverage about what's going on in Egypt. There are a few different things I do want to talk about, however. The first of which is we've heard from both Hillary Clinton and we have also heard from John McCain on their thoughts about which side the U.S. needs to be on and the concept of sides. Let's go first to Hillary Clinton. Here's what she said when she was asked by Candy Crowley to take a stance, one side or the other.
It seems to me that when this started out and we saw the signs and the protesters in the street, they were anti-Mubarak. Now, if you are watching, we are seeing signs that say, U.S., stop backing Mubarak. What side is the U.S. on, Mubarak or the people in the streets?
Well, there's another choice. It's the Egyptian people. We are on the side, as we have been for more than 30 years, of a democratic Egypt that provides both political and economic rights to its people, that respects the universal human rights of all Egyptians.
All right.
And
so then she continues her talking point. So she was very prepared for this, Lewis. You know that there have been discussions at the highest level about whose side are we as the U.S. going to say that we are on. And Hillary Clinton was not even the tiniest bit surprised by this question, and she answered it basically the way we expect, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything surprising about that? The kind of playing it down the middle?
No, yeah.
Now, when she talks about democracy, that's where I start to ask questions, because is she talking, what type of democracy exactly is Hillary Clinton talking about? Is she talking about the type of democracy like we have here in the U.S., where the individual person has almost no effect at all on what your elected officials do or whether your interests are served? Whether $1 is really worth more than a vote, or you can buy a vote with every dollar you have? Is that the type of democracy she's talking about?
Or the type of democracy that seems to exist in Egypt, which I guess you could call a democratic dictatorship.
Well, in a sense, that's right. And I don't know how far Hillary Clinton is planning to go with this. John McCain was also asked about which side are we going to be on. And here's what he had to say.
Loose, but also I think one of the lessons here is that we need to be on the right side of history in these countries, and we need to do a better job of emphasizing and arguing strenuously for human rights. And I understand how important, and I hope we all do, and how important Egypt as an ally, as a center of culture, and 1 out of every 4 Arabs in the Middle East live in Egypt, and how important they are. But it was clear for a long time that the kind of repressive regime that Mubarak controls, sooner or later there was going to be great difficulties.
Okay.
Good news.
A couple things here. Number one, everybody is an expert in hindsight. Now, John McCain is saying it was clear that this was just bound to happen. And if we actually want to ask ourselves, who for years has been saying that the political situations around the world in many countries are going to lead to revolts, protests, riots, whatever you want to call them, as an inevitable, that it is inevitable that that's going to happen? It has not been Republican senators from Arizona or any other state. So don't be confused. John McCain saying we all knew that this was going to happen inevitably. It has not been John McCain. There have been voices saying that this is going to be inevitable. John McCain has not been one of them. Additionally, Obama has been more or less silent on this. Now, it's no surprise when we hear from Hillary Clinton playing it down the middle. It's no surprise we hear John McCain taking the political opportunist tactic of saying, hey, this was inevitable and we want what is best for the people of Egypt, and it's a culture center. What John McCain really knows or cares about the culture of Egypt, I don't know. I can't imagine it. Well, I don't want to say. From my personal experience with McCain, I have no reason to think he has been particularly interested in the culture of Egypt. Do you, Lewis?
I never got that impression.
Al Jazeera English journalists have been detained. It is no surprise that if we turn on to the cable news, and really here, because this is an international story, we actually have the ability to compare above and beyond just how our 4 American cable news networks covering this. We actually see how the world is covering this. And it really brings to light the different context, the different frame of reference that exists in the U.S. versus in many other countries. Some people would say it is a more accurate frame of reference, and some would say it is less accurate. Within the U.S. specifically, if you watch Fox News versus the other networks, no surprise, Fox News is fixating on dangerous Muslims. We must be scared of Muslims. Muslim Brotherhood is taking over and controlling everything. And that's their frame. And I don't think anybody should be surprised about that. I certainly am not. Earlier today, yesterday, the last few days, I've been doing an exercise. I'll just turn on my TV. I'll watch 5 minutes of coverage on Fox, 5 minutes on CNN, 5 minutes on MSNBC, just to see what it is that comes up. Now, eliminating bizarre, overly excited weather reports about how it's going to snow in New England during the winter, big surprise, we are seeing very distinct type of coverage on this story, and I'm not surprised by any of it. From what you've seen, has anything stood out, Lewis, as particularly either one-sided or just of note in any way?
Well, to be honest, I've been on vacation and I haven't been watching much TV.
Right. Very good.
Yeah, so I can't really comment.
Thank you. And people assume that my last note on this is we will continue to talk about this more throughout the week, but I just wanted to give some initial thoughts. There's a lot of assumption here that this uprising will make Egypt more democratic through eliminating Mubarak and replacing him with someone. But it really could backfire, and it could end up like Iran. There could be a power vacuum. It could happen that people even more extreme than Mubarak could take over. We just don't know. I'm not predicting that. What I am saying is that the objective idea that this will inevitably lead to a better situation for the Egyptian people overall, it's too early to tell.
Right.
We just don't know that.